There are two ways to notoriety. One, work really hard, bust your ass, and do something notable. Or two, put down everybody else around you so that you feel better about yourself. What team do you play for? Hi, Jerry Corley here, standupcomedyclinic.com with another episode of Ask the Joke Doctor. In this episode, we're going to talk about a condition that's out there, a condition I like to refer to as I know everything. Condition. Don't fall into this, you know. And I've been doing this 30 years. I've been doing comedy 30 years. I've toured all over the world. I've done warm-up for television shows in the top 10 on network TV like Wings and Murphy Brown. I've opened for big names in concerts, and I've hosted long hours of mega concerts, big fundraiser concerts like Kiss and Unite. And I've toured on cruise ships. I've done colleges. I've done everything from a big arena playing up to 50,000 people in a big stadium to performing in a basement in a Catholic church for the Knights of Columbus. I've played a lot of gigs, a lot of different venues, and I look back at what my career was. I've been able to catapult my comedy. I wrote for The Tonight Show and Jay Leno for 8 years. I wrote a film that became a screenplay that wound up becoming a major motion picture and starring some of the biggest names in Hollywood. I've done a lot of stuff, but by no means do I feel I know everything. I'm still learning, and I'm still asking questions. I'm still talking to guys that have other experience besides mine and asking them how they got to where they were. You learn something from everybody in this business. So what I've found is there's these guys that, and it's usually the typical profile is these guys who've been doing comedy about 3 or 4 years that think they know everything. And they'll give you these platitudes like, they say, hey, you won't make it in this business unless you've been doing comedy 10 years. That's it. Or they just paint everything with a really broad brush. Another one of these things I heard was from somebody was, if somebody else can do your joke, your persona is just not refined enough. And that's just flat out bullshit, It's a nice soundbite, but it makes no sense, because there are jokes that are so good they could be done from any persona. Like there's a joke one of my students does. It says 1 in 10 men is gay. I just read this the other day. 1 in 10 men is gay. And 10 in 1 man is super gay. So you can do that from any persona and still get a great laugh on that particular joke. What they may have meant was that there are certain jokes that work better through a persona or certain persona. Like there are certain jokes that I can't do. Like I can't take Larry the Cable Guy jokes and do those jokes. It just wouldn't fly through my persona versus his persona. That middle America kind of down or southern type of good old boy attitude would sell certain jokes much better than my attitude would. But so as far as telling people and painting things with broad brushes, be very careful about people that do this because they're out there and they can, and one thing that really annoys me is they can paralyze new stand-ups, new comedians coming into the business. They give them this information and, oh, well, you've got experience. Well, this must be the gospel. And it's not. Nothing you see on this channel is ever the gospel. Picasso said that you got to know the rules before you can break the rules. That being said, we know that red and blue make purple. That's never going to change. So there are some rules that are set in stone, others that are not set in stone, that you can still break rules. And that being said, this particular episode is about something that somebody, one of my students had tweeted me and said that, I had shared one of your videos about writing and structure with this group I work with in my area, and one of the comedians got back and said, there is no rules in comedy. You just got to get up there and be funny and work on your persona. So If you really listen to what this guy said, he said, there are no rules, and then he gave you a rule. Do you see the paradox there? You see the massive irony there? You see the complete hypocrisy there? He's just wanting to tell you that there are no, hey, you don't have to learn. You don't learn this from anybody. You just got to do it, Sure, you can do that. You can get up there and just do it. But I prefer to talk to people who have more experience than I do and learn from them. I mean, hell, I wouldn't have headlined my first gig in 3.5 years and went on and been on television if I wasn't working with quality mentors. I mean, the guys who are the professors when it comes to learning mastery. The guys that like Andres Ericsson. He studied how people master something. And one of the ultimate things is that you've heard this 10,000 hours. Now, a lot of people give credit to that guy who came up with Outliers. But this is really originally from Andres Ericsson, who studied music, studied violinists originally in, I think, Vienna. And came back with understanding that the people who were at the best of the best were people who put in 6 hours of practice a day, as opposed to 4 hours of practice a day. So they were able to reach their 10,000 hours of expert practice, not just practice. You've heard the phrase, practice makes perfect. That's not necessarily true. Perfect practice makes perfect. And what I mean by that, perfect practice makes perfect, that means practice with feedback from an expert. Expert feedback will get you there faster than just sort of flying by the seat of your pants and getting up there every night and trying. You've seen these guys. They get up at these mics every single night and they do the same joke, the same way, night after night, sometimes for years, expecting something to change along the way where the audience is finally going to laugh at the joke. That doesn't happen. But if they got expert feedback from somebody with experience and understands how comedy works, like why human beings laugh, what triggers a human laughter, and how to structure your joke to make sure that it triggers human laughter, or to ensure with high odds that it will trigger human laughter, then you're going to move forward faster. Then you're going to reach the level of success that you're searching for faster. And not only just in the writing of your comedy, but in your career, your success is, how do I reach that place faster? One of the things is setting concrete goals, specific goals. When I started, I set a goal that I wanted to be on TV in a short period of time. I knew that I was going to hit better gigs. It'd be a lot easier to get gigs if I had a credential. And if I had a TV credential, I'm going to be getting, the doors would be open for a lot of things for me. So that's the first thing I shot for, is I wanted to get on TV. So I did. I wanted to get on TV and be a regular at the Improv. So I worked on my act and honed a nice tight five. I watched people who were doing TV sets. I interviewed people. I went down and talked to people at this agency called 3 Arts Entertainment. And I remember sitting down with them, and they showed me a video of what they were looking for. They gave me the VHS. That's how long ago it was, VHS. But they gave me, watch this guy. It was a segment of him on The Tonight Show doing his television set. And it was funny, and it was tight, and he opened strong, and he opened right away. Right away, got a laugh in the first 10 seconds. So those are the elements I noticed in his set. And so I started to sort of make sure my set had these qualities while keeping my own persona. So I'm learning from somebody who's already there. Why wouldn't I? Rather than saying, just get up there and be funny and you find your own persona. That's an idiot talking. That's somebody who's going to be at that level for the rest of their lives. Don't do that. Learn from people. Talk to people who are better than me. It doesn't even have to be me. Just go talk to somebody. Go down and watch comics. You see somebody you really like that really makes you laugh. See if you can't talk to them for a second after the show. Most of these guys are willing to talk to you. Dane Cook, for example, not my favorite when it comes to actually funny, but study his trajectory of success. The dude sold 100 CDs, 100,000 CDs on MySpace before we knew what MySpace was, for crying out loud. And so he built pressure outside the system to where the system now wanted a piece of him. So wouldn't you learn something as far as how did you do that? Wouldn't you want to ask that question? So you can see Dane Cook at the after shows here at the Laugh Factory in Hollywood or at the Improv. You see him after and say, hey, do you have a minute? I'm a new comic and I'd like to ask you just a couple of questions. You know, odds are he'll say, yeah, man, you know, what questions do you have? And he'll answer questions for you. You know, again, not my favorite comic when it comes to comedy, but why not ask somebody? If you like them, go up and ask them. Some comics are dicks, you know, but not the vast majority will be willing to talk to you and give you a couple of accolades. But why limit yourself and just try to toss out something like, hey, just get up there and be funny? You know, what does that even mean? Just get up there and be funny. What does that mean? Does anybody, what is it? Funny is, like we said it in a previous video, at an amateur level, funny is when the audience laughs. But how do you get there? How do you get there? Being funny with your friends doesn't necessarily equate to you getting up on stage and getting laughs. Because when you get up on stage and stand up, you got to be funny in a certain time frame. You don't wait for that opportunity to occur, then riff on it. You got to make it occur, if that makes sense. So these kind of guys drive me nuts because they start to injure new comics coming into the business. You know, be what you want to be, but try to limit yourself being an asshole to other comics who are trying to get into the biz. Because you don't have an answer doesn't mean you have to put down other comics. So you can put down me all you want. It doesn't bother me. I'm still on my trajectory. I still sell scripts every year. I'm still doing well, right? I'm still happy. I'm not worried about pleasing comics. The only thing I'm worried about pleasing is my audience and staying true to my work. And if you do that as a comic, then you don't have to worry about these other schmucks. But if you as an individual are the kind of guy that just get up there and be funny and develop your persona, you're being lazy. It's because you're afraid of the writing. It's possibly because you don't know how to write a joke. I did this at a seminar, a World Series of Comedy one time. I had said I opened up my seminar by saying, write me a joke right now, a brand new joke that you've never written before. Just said to write me a joke right now. Go ahead, write one. And I said, I looked around, I gave about a minute. I looked around and they stared at me. You know, most of them, except my students, they were writing jokes. And I said, how come you're not writing a joke? And some guy yelled out, it doesn't work that way, man. And I said, I'm guessing you're not on staff on a show. Because your executive producer walks in and he says, I need 10 jokes on golf. You got to be able to crank those jokes out because you're being paid a lot of money to be there. Now, as a comic, we're both trying to create jokes on a situation that occurs right before our very eyes, and also writing jokes from scratch at will on anything. But that takes work to learn how to do that. And a lot of comics are lazy. They don't like to do the work. I mean, there's an old saying, in life, most people are lazy. There's an old saying, I call it Sunshine's Law. It says that 2% of the population excels at its specialty, 2%. 18% are average or just above and complacent being there. The rest of the 80% are on a declining scale of incompetence. And we see this in almost every specialty in our lives. Customer service, the cops, the doctors, the nurses, a retail clerk, somebody out there. Just like not a lot of people excelling to be the best they can be. When you go to comedians, that percentage of people who excel at their specialty drops to 1%, maybe 0.5%, because a lot of people equate comedy with frivolity and they treat their careers frivolously. And to support themselves, make themselves feel better, they just put down everybody else around them. But if you do that, you're not growing, you're not learning fast, you're not learning efficiently. You're going to wind up working harder and not smarter. So instead of putting other people down, if there's a piece of information anywhere that helps you get better faster, utilize it. Use synergy, help other comics. Because that synergy, you helping other comics, hell, I go to open mic nights and I'll write tags and toppers for other comics in a little notebook, and I go, hey, you know that joke you do about the Hummer? What if you added these tags and toppers? What do you think? Oh, these are great. I go, well, you can use them if you want. You mean you're just giving all those to me? Sure, man. Jokes are a dime a dozen. Love to help. what does that do for your reputation? Think about that. If you like what you've seen here, if you enjoy what I do and you have a question for me, feel free to head on over to Twitter and hit me up at Joke Doctor and ask me a question, then leave the hashtag #AskTheJokeDoctor. I'll be happy to put a video together like this for you. And if you enjoy what you see here on my channel, feel free to subscribe. And please leave me a comment. Say something, positive, negative, it doesn't matter to me. And hit me with a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And just react, just engage a little bit. I hope this brought value to your day. I hope you keep growing and learning and getting better faster so that you can get work in this business and get out there and be successful in this amazing, amazing art form called comedy. Take care, and I will talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.